again, was that a case of maybe making it a wee bit harder than it should have been?
I think we lose a goal the last 30 seconds of the first game, and we lose a goal the first 30 seconds of the second game. That can happen, and that's football. I thought it was maybe a foul on McKenna initially when the ball gets played up by the centre forward, Coco. And then the boys took a shot on, it was ricocheted and flipped over Joe. We've seen that can happen. It's the good thing from our point of view was we still had 89 minutes to deal with the game, and this is a new team for me, a new squad. We're quite young out there because obviously we leave Ojo and Bryson back home, and hopefully they'll be ready for the next leg. But we were very young in the middle of the park, Ferguson and Campbell, and I thought they were outstanding in terms of starting to control the game. And when composure and calmness was needed at that situation, I thought we gave it. I think over the two legs, that last 30 seconds and in the first 30 seconds, there's no doubting, although Rovaniemi are a good side, a capable side, and they kept going. They've got a brilliant spirit about them, and they've got one or two talented players, Lingman especially, top player. So you're never ever totally comfortable, but nobody can tell me any different that over the two legs we absolutely dominated both games. We've passed up umpteen chances. I think we had 33 shots in the first leg, and there must have been about another 20-30 again today. So we're guilty of making that more difficult because not really by the goals we lose, but certainly by the lack of finishing at times and not putting the game to bed earlier. But there's two teams in a game, and it's clear that although Rovaniemi haven't started this season as well as they finished last season, they're clear they've got a good side there, and their team was well up for the game. And we knew we had to bring a decent level of performance to overcome them, and I think they deserve a lot of credit for pushing us all the way. But I think the better team over the two games is through to the next round. That's us.
Once again, Ferguson on a big occasion comes up trumps for you, gets you the win. He is that kind of player for you, isn't he?
Well, we played Ferguson against Lingman today. Identified Lingman as a key player for him. He's the one player in their team that I didn't want to have time to lift his head and enjoy the game, and I thought Ferguson was in and around him for the majority of it. He still had his moments, Lingman, once or twice, but when I need a job to be done, Ferguson's normally the one I turn to, and he done it brilliantly. Although he left him, I was screaming at him not to break when he broke, and he gets his goal. We could have counted on him 3, 4, 5 times and put him to bed, but thankfully Lewis gets his second goal, and like last season when he scores against Burnley, he's been a very important player for me already this season, so he was able to support with Dean in the middle of the park. But Ferguson had a job to do against Lingman, and he did it well today.
It's a quick further in now with Georgia next week. We have Ojo and whatever back.
Yeah, I think Bryson is due to train with us Sunday, Monday. That's the hope, that his ankle is. We took a gamble, as I say, when that first goal was in the right, you're starting to think, was it worth it and the right thing? But Bryson's too important a player for me to be taking risks with, and so he'll be back hopefully next week, and Ojo will be registered obviously for the second round now, and thankfully he'll give us a wee bit more options and strength through the middle of the park, because it's the one area we're really short. 2 defensive injuries to Devlin and Lee, which doesn't help matters, and thankfully the players came through that today, because we're a bit short there when we get a couple of injuries as we were last season. So but having those 2 boys back next week, the players been another week on, a lot of them having 2 lots of 90 minutes now. The good thing for me is Rovaniemi are 16-17 games into the season, and we looked a fitter team. We looked strong at the end. Our fitness levels were fantastic for a team who are only just back 3 or 4 weeks from their holidays really, and it was a test for us, but we overcame it.
How much have you been able to find out about the Georgians?
Well, scouts been out for both games with Full Esh, and obviously we didn't have too much footage of Full Esh, but we had plenty on the Georgians, so we feel that we'll have a good handle on them. Obviously me and the rest of the staff will now need to get to work on them, and we've got a few match reports. We've got a match report to read on the way home now after last night, because I've deliberately haven't entertain too much of them what they like, because we had this one to deal with first. So it was a quick turnaround, as you know, and we just over the next 2 or 3 days we'll get to familiarise ourselves with them and try and set up a team next week to get a positive result.
I think if you sort of plenty of hope though, the fact that tonight you didn't fire on all cylinders, but you still managed to grind out the win.
Yeah, I think there was. I think when the question was asked of us, you know, I'm finding out a lot about my team. It's a new squad, 8 new signings, we've got injuries, so that familiarity isn't there. But what was clear when the question was asked, when we needed calm heads and composure, the team gave it. We controlled the game. As soon as we lost the goal, we didn't panic, didn't start to get anxious. You know, Rovaniemi defended well. There was plenty of guts and spirit about them, and we had to overcome that. And thankfully, that composure was there for quite a young team.
For the first goal, Sam scores again. He's obviously he's had a lot of chances just now, but he's getting into the areas, which is good.
You know, you're right to say that. Last week was probably Sam's. You know, something we really looked at. His movement was as good as it's been in and around the box. He was terrific. You know, and he's kicking himself because the size of him. He's had good service in both games, and he could easily have been away with 5 or 6 goals over the 2 games, but he scored 2, and he at least he's there. I don't mind my strikers missing chances as long as we win the game, but I would rather they were there to miss them. As you say, his movement's been good, and he knows Curtis is breathing down his neck. You know, so Curtis has been training well. We was brought here to play. So good competition there, but pleased with the majority of the players at this early stage. It was decent level of performance.
Is a quick turnaround to Georgia? How important with your experience in the last 5-6 years, sort of knowing what to do with these long trips and sort of...
Yeah, I think logistically we've already looked at that. We'd weighed up maybe the thought of going out on the Tuesday with the time difference and the length of travel, but we've tried to find a way to go out on the Wednesday morning, I think early Wednesday morning. So what we'll probably do is train at Pittodrie on Tuesday and maybe even train Wednesday in Aberdeen and just travel and maybe have a look at the stadium without feeling the need to train at the stadium. So we'll try and get the players will win tomorrow, they'll get Saturday off, and then we'll start to look at how we try and win this next game.
Will Declan be alright for next week?
No.
No.
Don't know yet how long it'll be. We'll just treat it as a slight tear in his hamstring, but he'll probably miss. I would imagine we'd probably miss the 2 games, probably 2 or 3 weeks. Okay, cheers.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Well done. Good luck. Thank you.